Hello and welcome to another episode of Levitate Live. I am Ryan Nell, and I'm really happy to see you here today. Yeah, compassion or radical self kindness. Um, if you think of your authentic self as someone that you left behind a very long time ago, somewhere in your childhood, the authentic self just got left and buried. And many of us actually have, our lives seem so different to the ones we had when we started out. It's quite difficult to imagine or remember what it was like to be truly us. That starts at such an early age, actually. If you think a lot of when you're born, you're entirely authentic. If you're hungry, then you're expressing hunger, however well that's understood. And if you're tired, you feel tired, know you're tired, and your response to everything that comes up is entirely uncontrived. It is deeply authentic. It hasn't yet been tempered by your parents' love, which it turns out, however unconditional they want it to be, is of course contingent on you displaying the right kind of behaviors. What is incredibly darling and authentic about your child in one situation, in another context, is troubling. And in the case of your kid, making a lot of noise, well, yeah, either that is absolutely wonderful and to be encouraged, or giving you a migraine, as if they're doing it in the back of the car and you're on a long drive somewhere. So our parents, with the very best, the earliest of ages, that although it is absolutely fantastic to be authentic, the amount of love and approval you get back is somewhat contingent on you tempering the authenticity and sometimes just falling in line and doing kind of what's required of you. And for many of us, we spend a childhood kind of suppressing certain authentic bits of ourselves. We learn to fear them or be ashamed of them. And so they get banished to some shadowy corners of our minds. And before we know it, we will be and want to cultivate in myself, without realizing that actually that authenticity never went anywhere at all. It is just buried under layer after layer of everything we've ever learned since. All the concepts, all the ways that we've been taught to behave when we say the right thing. It is not necessarily our true authentic self that's getting nurtured in that instant. It may very well be being buried under layer after layer after layer. And so our job when we are meditating or just attempting to live more. So join me in finding a comfortable position, a level of stillness. Perhaps you are lying in bed or on the couch, or you're sitting somewhere where you are multitasking, balancing giving your kids conditional love with unconditional love, and frequently falling short on that second count. Whatever you happen to be doing, if you can find a moment of stillness now and just start to allow your eyes to fall closed. Take a couple of nice deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. And again in and out. Just allowing your lungs to empty on every exhale. With each breath in, you can explore different areas of tension in your body. And with every exhale, just allow them to flow right out of you. That authentic self that we think we left way in the past is something we, and this station was your childhood. Well, it's been picking up speed ever since. And it may feel like that station is a very long way away. But you only need to look in your chest pocket to realize you've been carrying part of it with you. You're still connected to the original station by dint of being on the same tracks. Notice the connection between your body and the seat beneath you or the ground. Notice your connection to your breathing. Allow any thoughts in your mind to start to settle. There's a story that Tara Brach tells of the ancient kingdom of Siam. It's a bit of history. Well, they were at war with a neighboring kingdom, and Siam was pretty much where present day Thailand is today. And they were at war with the Burma or Myanmar of yesteryear. And there was a temple with a golden Buddha in the kingdom of Siam. Looked after very reverently, as its value was, well, it was priceless. And the monks started getting very, very worried because the enemy soldiers were getting closer and closer to the monastery, to the temple. So, and they were so worried that the golden Buddha would be melted down or carried away by these invading troops. And so the monks hatched an ingenious plan, and they set about covering up the golden Buddha with mud and plaster. And just in time, they succeeded in rendering it entirely unexceptional. It looked like a clay and plaster statue. And we know this because hundreds of years later, none of the monks had survived to tell the tale or to restore the statue after the invasion. In fact, all of them died sadly at the hands of those invading troops who made off with everything valuable in that temple. And this unexceptional statue was left behind. And several hundred years later, when the local people were carrying that clay statue to a new home, it was heavier than it should have been, and it slipped out of their hands. And as part of the statue hit the ground, the clay and the plaster cracked open, and the gold beneath was revealed. All of us are carrying gold beneath many, many layers of clay and plaster. Our job is to strip away those layers. And the gold, that authentic self, it's not just pure love, your ethereal being, but it is you. And every time you find yourself getting you're frustrated with yourself or the world or reacting badly to a situation, you can bet your bottom dollar that that authentic voice within you wasn't given a chance to express, or that it was ignored or subsumed by you doing the right thing, or whatever the social occasion demanded of you, instead of nurturing that self that needs to be heard. So, what I want you to do is just think back to the last time you were frustrated or angry or hurt by a situation, and just call that sensation to mind. How did you feel in that moment? And where can you feel it in your body? Will you take your hands and just put them on that part of yourself, whether it's your heart or belly or forehead, your shoulders, wherever you're carrying the emotion? Acceptance. I want you to just apply a little bit of gentle pressure as if you were hugging that part of yourself that hurts. And we'll say to it silently, it's okay that you're here. I'm going to listen to what you have to say. You are part of me, and I love you. Notice if anything changes those words, that feeling. See, the truth is that it is very easy to love the parts of yourself that you find lovable. It's so difficult to even accept the parts of yourself that you find ugly, the parts of you that hurt, the parts you're ashamed of. But acceptance can't be a conditional kind of love. It needs to be unconditional. And the way to practice unconditional love is to slowly peel away the layers between you and the gold that lies within you, the good and the bad, your true self. Meditation is an amazing tool for this because it is about seeing the connections between things. It is about understanding that there is a balance, that you're not entirely good, you're not entirely evil. Your life isn't either success or a failure, and the world isn't dark or light. Instead, All of these things that seem like they're on extremes of a spectrum are just two sides of the same coin. We are happiest when we're connected. When we're connected, we feel most alive. So see if you can practice this just by noticing. Notice the next time you're feeling tight or anxious or stressed or constrained. And instead of trying to banish that bit of yourself that feels uncomfortable, why not put your hands over it and send it a little love? Let it know that you're going to listen to what it has to say, that it has just as much right to be there as any of the happier, sunnier feelings that you might feel. Together, let's take a deep, slow breath in. And just let that go. And one more of those, just releasing any tension in your body with a sigh. Just allowing your shoulders to soften and melt, your upper, middle, and lower back, your temples, your jaw. See if you can carry that softness, that pliability into your afternoon and evening and weekend. Now is not a time to double down and reinforce your defenses. Rather, it is a time to allow some of them to melt away. If you're having to keep up an act to keep people at home happy, why not try doing just the opposite? Not intentionally antagonizing them, but being authentic, communicating when things feel less than great, giving them permission to do the same. We're all probably battling with our roommates and housemates and family members in some way or other right now, just by dint of being so in such close quarters. But if you're really good at all those relationships and you're great at, giving a lot of compassion and love to everyone else, why not focus on your relationship with yourself? It is the model really for the love that you put out into the world. So the chance that you might lose that parental love that seems so conditional right at the start of things. But too many defenses get in the way of authentic relationships in the here and now. So I'm going to leave you with that. Hopefully, some of it made sense. Do feel free to pop a hello in the chat box if you're feeling like you want to say hello. Otherwise, I will see you back here on Monday at 2:00 UK time for another session of Levitate Live. Or if you want a longer meditation with me, then I teach a few weekly classes. They're on the website levitate.london. And there is one which is the Levitate signature meditation. Sounds like a load of marketing gobbledygook, but it is one entirely devoted to relaxation. And it happens every Sunday evening at 8:00. So you can sign up for a place there, or just keep on coming back and enjoying these free ones. I'm going to keep on doing them. They seem to have had a good reaction from the interwebs. So look out for yourself, look after each other, and I hope to see you back here very soon. Thanks so much.